Hi, this is the Anarcha Archive. I'm J.C. Hallman. Last time, we looked at the 1828 plantation inventory of David Westcott, Anarcha's first enslaver, who died without a will after moving to Alabama from South Carolina in 1820. The 1828 inventory was the first document to prove the existence of Anarcha that didn't come from the man who later experimented on her, the so-called father of gynecology, J. Marion Sims.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
Westcott left behind a young wife, Eliza, and 4 children. When she died, decades later, a stained glass window was cast in her honor as one of the founders of the first Methodist Church in Montgomery, Alabama. The window honoring Anarcha's second enslaver is still in place today, inside this church. Most of the documents from the Westcott plantation that have survived come from a later period of its existence, the 1850s and 1860s. There are checks, receipts from clothing and furniture stores, pages from ledgers, and so on. The Westcott plantation was a large concern, but it doesn't appear to have been a huge, entirely self-sufficient plantation. They were buying in town many of the items that on other plantations were made by enslaved people. Some of the furniture of the Westcott plantation is on display in the first White House of the Confederacy, but very little from the plantation has survived. Descendants have preserved a small doll of an enslaved woman and a small child's chair that is said to have come from the plantation's nursery, which descendants claim was used for both white and black children. There's a chance that Anarcha held this doll or sat in this chair. Admittedly, it's a pretty remote chance, but there's a chance. To the best anyone can recall, this is approximately where the original Westcott home stood, the home that the Westcotts would have been living in when Anarcha lived here. The Westcotts had several homes in Montgomery later, but the original home is long gone. When David Westcott died, his sons, Samuel and William, were about 10 and 8 years old. Eliza ran the plantation on her own until her sons came of age. In 1841, the family finally got around to distributing David's property between his wife and children. This time, there wasn't anything about furniture and cattle. It was the distribution of persons, of enslaved people. Eliza and her 4 children received an equal distribution of what was now about 80 enslaved persons. And there was something notable about this. Many of the enslaved people on the Westcott plantation in 1841 were quite young, had been born, in fact, since 1828. There is really no other conclusion to come to. The Westcott plantation was breeding enslaved people. Anarcha was given to William R. Westcott, the family's second oldest son. He became her 3rd enslaver, after David Westcott and his wife Eliza. In one document, Anarcha is listed as Anarcha with a value of her own, $500. She will soon be able to reproduce. On another page of the same document, her name is given as Anarchy, and her age is listed as 13. It's 1841. In 4 years' time, J. Marion Sims will report meeting a 17-year-old girl named Anarcha on the Westcott plantation. After 1841, the Westcott plantation would quickly begin to grow. But now, the enslaver was not Eliza Westcott, but 2 men, approximately 22 and 20 years of age. To be clear, it was common for enslaved women to bear the children of their enslavers, and at this time there were approximately 20 enslaved women on the Westcott plantation who were old enough to bear children. It seems very likely that at least some of the enslaved persons born on the Westcott plantation were fathered by either William or Samuel Westcott. Next time, we'll take a look at who might have fathered Anarcha's first child. And this was the pregnancy that would result in her first being seen by Dr. J. Marion Sims.
Whoa, 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 whoa.